Hi everyone, my name is Angela, this is Paperbacks Galore, and today I'm going to be doing my spring TBR slash spring hopefuls. It is a gorgeous 60 something degrees in Michigan today, so it's feeling like spring, and most of these books on this TBR are going to be new releases that I have on my Kindle as a bookseller who gets access to e-arcs. First up, we have Where the Dark Stands Still by A.B. Paranik. This is a young adult fantasy romance based on Polish folklore, which is really exciting because I'm half Polish myself. And this one seems like it's taking place near like a magical, mysterious forest. And I think the young girl in the story is going to be whisked away to the home of a demon. So I'm obsessed with that. I'm really excited, and the cover is so beautiful, so I hope the book is as beautiful as well. Next up, we have How to Solve Your Own Murder by Kristen Perrin. In this one, there seems to be a young woman named Frances, who's now old, but when she was young, basically a fortune teller foretells that she's gonna be murdered someday, and so she spends her whole life like trying to prevent this murder and like dig up dirt on people who seem to hate her just in case they're the ones who end up murdering her. And finally, it seems like it's happened and she's been murdered. So her great niece is called to her country estate in this like quaint English village, and she has to solve her great aunt's murder. Next up, we have Old Flames and New Fortunes by Sarah Hogle. This is a contemporary romance with magical realism. So it's set in this magical town in rural Ohio, and our main character is like a magical florist. And the town is called, Moonville. I'm so excited. If you've never read a Sarah Hogle, she is so unique and creative and also funny, so I'm super excited to read this new romance. I might read it like next week. Next is Bride by Ali Hazelwood. You've probably heard of this one. All I know about it is that it's a marriage of convenience and that there's a vampire and a werewolf. I really don't know if I'm gonna love this one or hate this one, but I'm so curious to see if A, it's good, and B, if my 25-year-old self still likes that kind of paranormal romance that I was into when I was a preteen, so we'll see. Switching things up a bit, we have The Woods All Black by Lee Mandello. This is a horror novella, and the cover intrigued me so that I read the synopsis, and the synopsis hooked me. So it says equal parts horror, trans romance, and blood-soaked revenge, all set in 1920s Appalachia. Say no more. I mean, that sounds amazing. I'm not a huge horror reader, but sometimes a horror synopsis just like intrigues me so much that I have to read it, and that's what's happening here. Next is The Tainted Cup by Robert Jackson Bennett. I've never read from this author before, but I've seen a few people review this one already and it sounds really good. All I know about it is that it is a mystery set in a fully fleshed out fantasy world, and I really don't want to know much more than that, but mystery and fantasy are two of my favorite genres, so I think if this one has really great writing and plotting, I'm gonna absolutely love it. Speaking of fantasy, we have Dragon Rider by Taran Matharu. This is a adult fantasy, high fantasy about dragons and revenge, and I didn't read the synopsis too closely because I really don't want to know. I like going into fantasy series not knowing too much, and it's written by an author of color, which is great because I feel like a lot of the dragon fantasy that's really popular right now is by white authors, so I'm super excited for this one. Okay, this next one is one of my most anticipated books of the entire year, and it's Goddess of the River by Vaishnavi Patel. If you don't know, she wrote Kaikeyi, which is one of my favorite books of all time, but also of last year. And this one is the reimagining of Ganja, Goddess of the River, and her doomed mortal son. That's the beginning of the Goodreads synopsis, and that's all I need to know. I'm excited to learn more about this story and see what kind of twist Vaishnavi puts on it. Next up we have a book that I actually have physically for once, and it's Emily Wilde's Map of the Otherlands by Heather Fawcett. And I read the first book in this series, the Encyclopedia of Fairies, and it was so good. I really enjoyed it. It was very wintry and snowy, and this one is giving me more spring vibes. I'm not sure if that's true or not, but in any case, I really want to read this one. Think light academia, fairies, and some romance. That's really all you need to know about this series. And lastly, I think this is pretty much everyone's most anticipated book of the year, Funny Story by Emily Henry. I already have this on my Kindle, and I am just waiting for the perfect moment to read it. I have no idea when that's gonna be. I didn't look up the synopsis for this one. What I remember hearing is that it's two people who have both been dumped, and I think their exes are dating each other, and so they're kind of fake dating to get revenge. I might be wrong. That's another one where I want to go into it kind of just not knowing what the heck is going on and just let Emily Henry take me on a journey. Those are not by any means all the books I want to read in the spring. Those are just mostly the new releases that I want to focus on. The rest of the books, hopefully I'll be pulling from my own physical TBR, and I'm such a mood reader that I have no idea what I'm going to choose, but these are all books that are coming out in the spring or have already come out early this year, and I want to read them and do standalone reviews for them. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a lovely week. Bye!